Welcome to part 2 of my January book haul. So part 1 was me talking about the books that I had received for school. Part 2 is all the other stuff. Woo! Let's start with some of the books that I bought for myself this month. Most of these I purchased used from various thrift stores, so it's not as bad as it looks, I think. So the first one is Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. This is, of course, the novel of the Practical Magic movie. This came first. I love Practical Magic and I have always wanted to read the novel, but if you look at the novel online, it's quite expensive still. So when I found this for $2 at a thrift store, I picked it up. Again, I purchased this used off Amazon, and our used book selling area is Hyperbole and a Half by Allie Brosh. This is just a collection of funny cartoons, and you will see me talk about this in my January wrap-up. The next book is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, a hardback. So I have been looking to collect these editions of the Harry Potters in hardback because mine are falling apart. And so I found this for $2 at a thrift store. Tyler got rid of it at some point and it ended up in a thrift store. Thank you, Tyler, for getting rid of your book, because now I have it and I will appreciate it and love it, even though you clearly didn't. The next two books I got because I wanted to see the movies and I was somewhat deluded about the amount of time that I would have to A, read, and B, go to the movies, and now they are not in theaters anymore. So I have The Danish Girl by Ebershoff. So I wanted to see this movie because I thought it would be interesting. Hopefully at some point in the future, maybe over my reading week, I will get to this. The next book I wanted to read because I wanted to see the film because I love Saoirse Ronan and I probably butchered the pronunciation of her name, but I heard Sana talk about this on Books and Quills and she really sold this, and I watched the celebrities interview each other thing on YouTube. I will link it down below, in which Kate Winslet interviews Saoirse Ronan and Saoirse Ronan kind of interviews Kate Winslet. It just sort of hooked me and I really wanted to experience this story and watch the film, and now the film isn't playing and I still haven't read the book. So I will hopefully get to this soon and then watch them on DVD when they come out. The next, again, Sana from Books and Quills, inspired me to pick up Letter for the King by Tonke Dragt. This is a children's fantasy novel translated from Dutch by Laura Watkinson. I will try and find Sana's video and link that down below, in which she interviews the translator. And I am doing my dissertation on children's fantasy literature. I decided to pick this up because I'm always looking to read more YA fantasy. The next two things that I picked up because I enjoyed reading Hyperbole and a Half so much. Every night before bed I would read just a little chapter of Hyperbole and a Half, and it made me feel like I was accomplishing things because I'm reading so many things for school right now, so many things for researching, that I don't get the accomplish feeling of finishing something very often. And so I picked up Nimona by Noelle Stevenson because I really enjoyed the first 7 Lumberjack comics that I read. I've seen a lot of stuff about this on the internets, and so I decided to pick this up because I will be able to read a little section and feel like I completed something each night before I go to bed. So I'm looking forward to this. And I picked up Saga Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples for the same reason. So we'll see how this goes. I will probably review both of these just because I'm not very experienced with graphic novels and stuff like that. So I'll probably give you my thoughts on how that goes. So the next two books are things that I came across in other like scholarly texts. People mentioned these. And so I picked up What is a Woman by Toril. So I read Sexual Textual Politics by Toril, and she made reference to this book in which she speaks back to Judith Butler's gender trouble and the idea of gender performance. And so she looks at all of these kind of like post-structural, existential, feminist stuff that gets way too abstract, and she critiques that. So far, it's super interesting. I am really enjoying it because I have often found Butler really hard to grapple with. Like, it's nice in theory, but again, how do we put that into practice? And this is much more down to earth in taking these theories and taking these ideas and commenting on them. So I'm really enjoying reading this. Then I came across Harmful to Minors: The Perils of Protecting Children from Sex by Judith Levine in Gaga Feminism by Halberstam, I believe his name is. I can't 100% remember. So he mentions this text and he calls it brave. I don't know if she really believes this or if she's playing devil's advocate, but my understanding is that she makes the argument, who are we as adults to decide what is appropriate for a child to desire? She kind of looks at desire and who is allowed to have it and when we're allowed to have it, and questions whether or not we can say that a child that truly sexually desires an adult, like in the Lolita relationship kind of in the early stages of that, is that wrong? Is that wrong for that relationship to happen? And so she's asking those questions. So I'm very curious to read this. Depending on how this goes, I might not review this on this channel. We'll see. So then I did something really stupid and I joined a book club this year because on top of my 2 courses, my children's literature teaching assignment, my thesis project, and just, you know, having a life in which I am not constantly buried under a mound of books, I decided to join a book club. And I mean, I love to read and I love these books and I'm so looking forward to discussing these books with my friends, but it was not the smartest thing that I have ever done in my life. So how our book club is working is that one person picks 2 books that kind of dialogue with each other and then we will read them over 2 months and meet at the end of 2 months to discuss. And so the first book is 15 Dogs by Andre Alexis. This is a Canadian book. It was published by Coach House Books, which is a small publishing company in Toronto, and it looks like a really, really cool company, and I actually looked through their catalog and I've started like flagging other books. So I do have a review for this coming up. This is what happens when Hermes and Apollo gift 15 dogs in a shelter with the ability to think like humans and make language. The next book that we are reading alongside 15 Dogs is Heart of a Dog by Mikhail Bulgakov. This is a translation. This is a novel that was written in 1925 but remained unpublished until 1987. It is a satire and it's apparently still super relevant now as when it was written in 1925. I will probably review this when I'm done and I will probably talk about how these books dialogue at some point. That is the plan right now anyways. The next 3 books are talked about on BookTube so much and the fairy tale course inspired me to pick up a lot of fairy tale retellings, and so I found these at a thrift store for $2 each. And then finally we get into some weird stuff. So these are books that I did not pay for, I was given. The first is The Dragon's Blade, The Reborn King by Michael R. Miller. This is a book that I was sent by the author for review. I've started reading it and I am really enjoying it, and you will see a review for this at the end of February. And the next books are books that I inherited. They are old books. They came from my grandmother's house when we were cleaning it out. Don't really know what they're about really, but they are beautiful. So the first is Lullaby Land by Eugene Field, and I think just the cover and the spine are stunning on this. So this was published in 1905. It is a collection of songs and poems for children. There are like those classic old-timey creepy illustrations. Then we have Agatha Christie, Murder with Mirrors. And I am working my way through Agatha Christie's works, so this is great. I don't have to purchase one now. Then I have Sewing Made Easy by Mary Lynch. Now this is a guide to sewing. And it is the sassiest sewing guide I have ever read. It is absolutely hilarious. I don't know if it was intended to be funny, but just the snarky, like, how to measure people and getting ready to sew and like all of these things are just absolutely hilarious. So of course it's a practical guide on like how to make your own patterns. There's no coddling the reader or the sewer. And it's absolutely hilarious, and I have enjoyed flicking through this and reading how to sew. The next book is A Man Under Authority by Ethel M. Dell. I have no idea what this is about, but it was published in 1926, and I just basically saved the sort of decent looking oldish books from her house. So there's that. Then there is On the Sands of Coney by Neil Boyton S.J. And this I picked up again. I saved it because of the cover and the spine. They're absolutely beautiful. This was published again in 1925, and I have no idea what it's about, but it is gorgeous. And then I have Nancy Drew, The Mystery at Lilac Inn. So this was published in 1930, and again, I think it's beautiful. And so that brings us to the end of my haul part 2. These are all of the books that I have acquired in January. Yes, I know it is a lot, but a lot of them aren't mine. A lot of them I didn't have to pay for, so I don't feel too bad. Let me know if you have read any of these books that I've talked about today. I have recently started an Instagram account and I'm really enjoying it, so you can kind of see what I'm currently reading there. I'm keeping more up to date there. Links for all of my social media are in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!